Well, joining us now from Washington, Lanny Davis, who was President Bill Clinton's lawyer at the White House, and in New York, Mica Mosbacher, who is a supporter of Donald Trump. Mica Mosbacher, we're wondering why, if General Flynn did nothing wrong, as indeed Mr. Trump says, why did he lie about it?
First of all, he did absolutely nothing wrong. The legal counsel at the White House did investigate this in terms of legalities. But the issue is he did cover up. And he did put President Trump in an untenable situation. He had to choose between General Flynn and supporting his vice president. And yes, it took a few days to sort it out, but once he did, he felt he was accountable to the American people. He promised transparency and to drain the swamp. And so, unfortunately, he had to let General Flynn go. It was a trust issue. Well,
I mean, but is a cover-up a lie or terminological inexactitude?
Whether he forgot or did not disclose the full content of the conversation with the Russian ambassador, it was, unfortunately, an inconvenient truth.
Okay.
So, therefore, he has been let go. But let me say this. There is a much bigger issue at play here, and that is the leaking of sensitive and highly classified information to the news media that apparently is coming from Clinton operatives who are embedded in some of the agencies. And
so
who were there
you would be
transition.
absolutely in favor of a major congressional inquiry into this, and a Senate inquiry, too. We've got to get to the bottom of it, right?
I would be in favor of revealing and being accountable to the American people.
No, that's not quite what I asked. That's not quite what I asked. I asked, are you in favor, because you're so concerned, you want to get at the truth, would you like to see your Republican-dominated Congress and Senate investigate this matter?
I'm in favor of getting at the truth, and I'd like to point out that the bipartisan watchdog group here in Washington, D.C., Judicial Watch, has been extremely involved over the past several years in investigating Hillary Clinton.
Well, now, let me just go to Lanny Davis, because he's just had a guffaw. Let's check his guffaw. What's the laughter? Lanny Davis.
Well, the first guffaw is to call Judicial Watch bipartisan. Nobody even, that's not even a Saturday Night Live joke. They would not agree that they're bipartisan. They're highly Republican and conservative. But
well, as a lawyer, let me ask you as a lawyer then, do you think there is a need for a legal investigation of this, or should it be left to the Senate and Republican investigative authorities?
Well, it's certainly, to answer the question that was refused to be answered, there certainly should be a congressional investigation to the same extent that Congress wanted to investigate Benghazi and emails and other subjects. So, yes, of course, there needs to be a congressional investigation. There also needs to be transparency. Your guest refers to favoring transparency. Why is Donald Trump not answering the question, did anyone in your campaign have communications with Russians or Russian government officials regarding the disclosures and the leaks, I would say, the favorite word of your guest, in the middle of the Clinton campaign, that the entire intelligence community, including the FBI, said was in order to help Donald Trump and not help Hillary Clinton. That's another place where Donald Trump should follow the advice of your guest, be transparent, and answer all the questions about what knowledge he had about all those alleged conversations between Russian government officials and his own campaign.
Well,
transparency.
Mica Mosbacher, you've been very close to the Donald Trump campaign and the rest of it. How bad is the relationship between the White House and the press? I mean, is it right for the President of the United States, whose Constitution guarantees free speech, to call CNN, the Washington Post, the New York Times, fake news?
Yes, absolutely, especially when they come out with stories that are unsubstantiated. I think American people are thrilled that finally
I thought you just told me that the
institution.
intelligence community had been leaking. So that's that they haven't. It's just unsubstantiated nonsense, is it?
It is not unsubstantiated nonsense. And I want to go back to Judicial Watch, with all due respect to Lanny. That argument is all hat, no cattle, as we say in Texas. Judicial Watch filed all the way back Freedom of Information Acts with federal courts, and they ruled last week in federal court that they would not release for 17 months through the FBI emails dating to Clinton.
Okay,
so
well,
I asked, first of all, why wasn't that administration, the Obama administration was not transparent.
Mica Mosbacher, thank you very much. Lanny Davis.
Notice how Mica didn't describe them as bipartisan, which is a Saturday Night Live laughable line, Mica. Do your homework. They called themselves Republican and conservative, not bipartisan. You should be embarrassed that you didn't know.
Do your homework,
we have to leave
Lanny.
it. No, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, both.